Naoya was a high school student who had a girlfriend named Saki at the time. He confessed his feelings to Saki, who had been close to him since they were little. Saki accepted his confession and they started dating in the spring. Naoya felt like he was the happiest person in the world. After class ended, Shino asked Saki to come with her to their club activities. Before leaving, Saki told Naoya she would be going and Naoya said he would wait until she finished. However, Saki told him that it was okay to head home first once in a while and reminded him not to secretly cheat on her. Naoya was shocked and asked if Saki really thought he would ever do something like that. He apologized if he had made her anxious. He hugged Saki tightly and said he would love her even more so she would never have to worry about that. Saki asked him to let go, but instead, Naoya shouted out how much he loved her and asked if she could feel it. That made Saki really embarrassed and she told him to save things like that for when they were alone. She said he was being way too intense, or maybe just weird, since he could not even take a joke. To her, what he had just done was totally over the top. Naoya told her that he did not want to lie about how he felt and could not hold back when it came to expressing his love for his girlfriend. He admitted that he felt that way because Saki only accepted his feelings once they were in high school, even though he had already confessed to her back when they were in grade school. To him, it was only natural that he wanted to protect their relationship. Saki explained that back in grade school or middle school, those kinds of feelings were too heavy for her to deal with, but now she was ready to accept everything. Before she left, Naoya told her that she looked really cute that day. While Saki was at her club activity, Naoya waited for her on the school rooftop. Not long after, a girl suddenly walked up to him. She had come to confess her feelings to him. Naoya was shocked and shouted in surprise. The girl introduced herself as Nagisa, a first-year student. She asked Naoya what he thought about how she looked. Naoya answered honestly, saying she looked really cute. Hearing that made Nagisa happy. She said she was grateful for all the effort she had put in over the past 3 months. She told him that every single day she trained her muscles, jogged, and did yoga for 4 hours, and then spent another 3 hours on her appearance before going to bed. Naoya told her she was a hard worker. It turned out that Nagisa had wanted to be in perfect shape when she confessed her feelings. Naoya called that incredibly sincere. On top of that, she had also worked hard on her cooking because she wanted to win a guy's heart through her food. That was why she had spent 8 hours every day practicing her cooking. Hearing that, Naoya asked if her body was okay and told her to make sure she took care of her health. Nagisa said she was totally fine. Then she asked if Naoya wanted to try her cooking. The food she brought looked delicious, and sure enough, when Naoya tasted it, the flavor was amazing. He said it felt like Nagisa was pushing herself too hard, but she did not think so. She said she did all of it for Naoya, and that it actually made her feel happy. Nagisa explained that the amazing taste of her cooking came from using Matsusaka beef, fresh sea shrimp, and foie gras, which she had bought using the money she earned from her part-time job. Of course, the ingredients were expensive. Hearing that, Naoya said she was trying way too hard and was just too kind. Nagisa then asked if she looked charming to him. Naoya told her that of course she did. Nagisa was moved by his words. She asked if Naoya would go out with her and whether or not she was a good match for him. Naoya told her that he would honestly be really happy if they dated, but unfortunately, he already had a girlfriend. Nagisa admitted that things had gone just as she had expected. She said she would not give up just because she had been rejected once and planned to confess her feelings to Naoya again. After saying that, she turned to leave, but suddenly, Naoya grabbed her hand. He told her that he already had a girlfriend. He truly loved his girlfriend and wanted to protect that relationship. However, he also admitted that deep down, he found Nagisa incredibly charming and wanted to live his life by her side too. He did not want to turn down Nagisa's feelings, but at the same time, he could not bring himself to betray his girlfriend either. So if it was truly allowed, he said he would choose to date both of them. Naoya then asked Nagisa if she would be willing to talk to his girlfriend together and asked for her permission. He apologized, saying that was the only option he could offer. After taking a moment to think, Nagisa agreed, saying there was no harm in at least trying. Meanwhile, Saki and Shino had just finished their club activities. Shino commented that Saki was in top shape that day. Suddenly, Naoya showed up and asked if he could talk to Saki. Shino casually remarked that Naoya was being as affectionate as ever, then excused herself, saying she did not want to interrupt. Naoya said he wanted to talk about Nagisa. Nagisa introduced herself and Saki was instantly charmed by how cute she was. Saki immediately invited her to hang out. Naoya said he had something important he wanted to talk about, but Saki pointed out that it would be hard to have a proper conversation if they barely knew each other. Naoya agreed and the three of them ended up going to a karaoke place together. Unfortunately, Nagisa's singing voice turned out to be pretty bad. After they finished singing, Nagisa apologized for her unpleasant voice, but to Saki, the way Nagisa looked so shy about it made her even cuter. Next, the three of them played basketball together. Unexpectedly, while dribbling, Nagisa slipped and fell. Saki, who saw the fall from behind, remarked that Nagisa's underwear looked really cute. Later, while they were sitting at the bus stop, Saki ate Nagisa's homemade lunch. She said it tasted so good it made her feel like she wanted to marry Nagisa. Hearing that, Nagisa was happy that her cooking matched Saki's taste. Naoya then asked Saki what she thought of Nagisa. Saki honestly said that she actually felt like dating her. Naoya said he understood how she felt. Then he looked at Saki and told her that he wanted to date both of them. Hearing that, Saki looked completely confused. Naoya explained that earlier, Nagisa had confessed her feelings and asked him to be her boyfriend. And now, the more he got to know her, the more he realized how captivating she was. He was truly amazed by her. Because of that, he had started thinking about dating both of them. After listening to all of that, Saki admitted that she still did not fully understand what Naoya was trying to say. Naoya told her that as a person, he could not cheat behind her back. If Saki allowed it, he wanted to be honest and open about dating both of them. Upon hearing that, Saki immediately punched Naoya in the face. She said there was no way she would allow something like that. Naoya said he wanted them to talk it over first, but Saki still refused. Naoya admitted that he felt guilty towards Saki, but Saki told him that if he already had someone, he should be satisfied with what he had. She was about to hit him again, but Nagisa quickly stepped in to stop her. Nagisa did not want any violence between them. Saki then asked Nagisa if she really had no problem with sharing her love. Nagisa said that she believed Saki would not break up with Naoya. If Naoya was not allowed to date both of them, then it meant she would be rejected. And for that reason, Nagisa agreed to it. Saki never expected Nagisa to feel that way, so she asked what made Naoya so special in Nagisa's eyes. For Nagisa, Naoya meant everything. She pleaded with Saki to allow them to share their relationship. Saki couldn't handle seeing Nagisa's adorable face, so she closed her eyes to avoid looking at her. To Saki, a relationship should only involve one girl. That was just common sense. Naoya had admitted that he was truly attracted to Nagisa. However, he couldn't bring himself to turn her down purely because of reason, especially since he still wanted to keep dating Saki. He realized that if he lied to himself and to Saki, regret would follow. That's why, instead of hiding it, he wanted to be honest about his feelings and give being with both of them a try. Still, Saki flatly refused. Curious about what it would take for her to change her mind, Naoya asked how he could convince her. But Saki told him that if she said no, then it simply wasn't going to happen. Naoya refused to give up. He said he'd do whatever it took to be allowed to date both of them. He even suggested they try it out on a trial basis. Suddenly, Nagisa begged Saki to go along with Naoya's idea. She promised to bring Saki snacks every single day so she could eat as much as she wanted. On top of that, Naoya chimed in, saying he would take good care of Saki, and even promised to give her 30,000 yen every month. He swore he'd do everything he could. Naoya admitted that asking to date both of them was selfish. He told Saki that she had every right to break up with him right then and there. He also believed that Nagisa wasn't looking to be part of a shared relationship either, but Naoya was convinced that eventually he could make both Saki and Nagisa happy. Nagisa was touched after hearing all of that, and Saki finally gave in. She agreed to let Naoya try if he truly believed he could handle it. Deep down, she thought it was impossible, and she even admitted that she had started to feel upset with him. Still, Naoya promised to give it his best. Saki then asked what would happen to their relationship after that. Naoya believed that the three of them needed to understand each other better, but Saki was convinced that nothing good would come from a relationship like this. That was when Naoya made a bold proposal. Starting that very day, the three of them should live together. Since he did not live with his parents, it would not be a problem. Nagisa agreed right away and said she would start packing. Naoya then told Saki he would contact her mother first to let her know. When they arrived at Naoya's house, Saki still could not believe the three of them were really going to live together. Nagisa said it felt like a dream. Naoya immediately got to work setting up a room for the girls, while Nagisa offered to cook dinner. Saki admitted that she was not very good at household chores, so Naoya told her to just take it easy and rest. Before long, dinner was ready. The three of them ate together. Saki loved Nagisa's cooking, which made Nagisa really happy. Naoya also mentioned that he had already prepared the bathroom so Saki could enjoy a relaxing soak. Saki felt genuinely happy and said that Naoya was being really considerate. Later, while Saki was relaxing in the bath, Nagisa came in and said she wanted to talk. Saki hesitated but agreed to listen. Their conversation turned to their relationship with Naoya, and Nagisa encouraged Saki not to hold back her feelings. Nagisa admitted that she had stepped into their relationship but hoped she had not made things too uncomfortable. Saki explained that nothing serious had happened between her and Naoya, and she was still trying to figure out how she felt. Nagisa was surprised but tried to reassure her that it was okay to take things slowly. Saki also mentioned that because she and Naoya had been childhood friends, their relationship felt more serious and complicated. Nagisa encouraged her to be more open and relaxed. Saki was caught off guard and raised her voice in response. Meanwhile, Naoya was doing the dishes when Saki came out and asked him how far things had gone between him and Nagisa. Naoya was confused by the question and Saki pushed for clarity. Nagisa then admitted that she had strong feelings for him. Naoya also confessed that he had imagined what it might be like if they were all in a relationship together. Saki was shocked and called his thinking inappropriate. Naoya apologized if it sounded wrong and explained that it was just a thought he had not wanted to hide. Saki told him that being so blunt made it sound off-putting. She acknowledged that Nagisa was cute, but said Naoya should not be thinking like that. Naoya reassured her that he would never do anything without her full support. To him, building trust and understanding between all three of them was more important than anything else. Eventually, Naoya decided that they needed to focus on growing closer as people without rushing into anything. Saki asked if that meant he did not want to move forward with her at all. Naoya said it would not feel right if it left someone else out. When he asked if she was disappointed, she got flustered and said he had misunderstood her entirely. Saki was dating Naoya. She thought he was a little too serious and kind of strange, but she also believed he genuinely cared about their relationship. At first, everything seemed fine, until Naoya suddenly told her that another girl, Nagisa, had confessed her feelings to him and wanted to date her too. What shocked Saki even more was that Naoya asked for permission to date both of them at the same time. To her, it felt like an absurd and thoughtless request. Then, to make things even more complicated, Naoya suggested that the three of them live together in his house. Saki was overwhelmed by the idea. She felt like it would only lead to confusion and emotional stress. And adding to that, Nagisa, her so-called rival, was incredibly sweet and cute. Saki could not understand how someone like Nagisa could fall for someone as unusual as Naoya. She even asked Nagisa if his awkward behavior ever bothered her. But instead of being put off, Nagisa said she was fine with it, and that if Naoya wanted the three of them to be together, she would respect that. Nagisa's response completely caught Saki off guard. She had not expected someone so gentle to be so open-minded. Almost without thinking, Saki said that maybe she wanted to date Nagisa too. At the same time, she wondered if Naoya's attention would eventually shift away from Nagisa, since she was the one who had approached him first. Later, the three went to the bedroom and found Naoya arranging 3 futons side by side. Saki asked why he had set them up like that. Naoya said he thought it would help them get used to being around each other. Saki immediately became suspicious, wondering what he was thinking. But Naoya reassured them that he had no inappropriate intentions and reminded them of his promise to respect their boundaries. Saki said that if she were in his position, she would probably find it hard to keep that promise. In response, Naoya said he would be willing to go to extreme lengths to earn their trust. Saki told him that was way too much, but she decided to believe him. Saki assumed that if anything did happen between the three of them, it would be Nagisa who initiated it. She promised herself that she would stay alert and not let things get out of hand. That night, the three of them lay down side by side and Saki quietly kept watch, determined to stay aware of everything going on. Naoya thanked Saki for going along with such an unusual situation. She stayed quiet. Nagisa guessed that Saki might have already fallen asleep because of how exhausting the day had been. Naoya admitted that it was all his fault. But in reality, Saki was only pretending to sleep. She was fully awake and paying close attention. Nagisa softly asked if it was okay to move a little closer. Saki assumed she was trying to get closer to Naoya emotionally, while Naoya just figured she was feeling uneasy in a new environment. Nagisa said she never imagined she would get to be near someone she had liked for so long. She said it felt like a dream. Saki, listening in silence, began to imagine the worst. Nagisa said she wanted to get to know Naoya better and hoped he would open up to her more. Saki grew more anxious, thinking something might be going on between them. When Nagisa said she felt truly happy, Saki could not take it anymore. She asked them directly if anything was happening. Then she quickly pulled off the blanket, only to find that they were just talking. Naoya was surprised and asked what was going on. Saki, feeling embarrassed, said she had not meant to accuse them of anything and quietly joined them under the covers, still flustered. Naoya guessed that Saki might be feeling a little left out and told her she looked really cute when she was being honest about her feelings. He suggested they could all share one Fune if it helped them feel more connected. Nagisa figured Saki was just letting her imagination run wild. That night, the three of them ended up sharing the same bed. The next morning, Nagisa woke up early and made breakfast. She still could not believe Naoya had suggested being in a relationship with both her and Saki, and even more surprising was how happy that idea made her. She knew it would not be easy, but in that moment, her happiness outweighed any worries. Being with Naoya and Saki, even in such an unusual setup, made her feel truly grateful. Nagisa knew things might not work out if Saki ultimately could not accept their new situation. If that ever happened, Nagisa feared she would be the one left behind. Even so, she was determined to make the most of the time they had together. She wanted to prove that she was someone who brought value to the group. Maybe, she thought, she could even show that she was the best match for Naoya. The only problem was, she had no idea how to do that. While thinking things over, Nagisa noticed that Saki and Naoya had left their phones unattended. A curious thought crossed her mind. Maybe understanding them better would help her figure out what to do next. Nagisa believed that being in this kind of relationship meant being open and honest, not just guessing what the others were feeling. She wanted to understand both Saki and Naoya on a deeper level, so she decided to check Saki's phone for anything that might give her insight. To her surprise, the browser history showed that Saki had recently been researching a lot of topics related to relationships and how to handle difficult emotions. It shocked Nagisa, especially since Saki usually looked up lighter things like pet videos and dessert recipes. Clearly, Saki was more trouble than she let on. Nagisa also accidentally opened Saki's Twitter account and found several posts that revealed how conflicted she felt. Some messages showed frustration toward the situation with Naoya, while others surprisingly mentioned that Nagisa seemed kind. Even though Saki was still adjusting to everything, she admitted online that she might be open to getting along better with Nagisa in time. Just then, Naoya suddenly woke up and asked what Nagisa was doing. Caught off guard, she nervously tried to explain that she was looking through Saki's phone out of concern. Saki woke up right after and was confused to see her phone in Nagisa's hands. Frozen with guilt, Nagisa struggled to say anything until Naoya unexpectedly stepped in and took responsibility. He told Saki it was his idea to check her phone because he wanted to understand how she was feeling. Saki shouted in shock, remembering the kinds of things she had been reading. Trying to explain herself, Saki said she had been looking up ways to deal with feeling overwhelmed after being teased by her friends for not being in a typical relationship. She was just trying to understand things better on her own. Naoya immediately apologized, saying he had no idea and that it was completely okay for her to take her time figuring things out. His kind response made Saki even more flustered, and she began lightly in embarrassment, telling him to just forget everything that had happened. Nagisa watched the moment quietly, feeling bad that Naoya had taken the blame for her actions. Later, after everyone had settled down, Naoya suddenly fainted from exhaustion, which sent Nagisa into a panic. She called out to him, but Saki, already back asleep, did not hear anything. Fortunately, it was not serious. Naoya had just pushed himself too hard. The next morning during breakfast, Saki was impressed by Nagisa's cooking. She even said it was the best she had tasted. Curious, she asked what class Nagisa was in. Nagisa replied that she was in Class B. It turned out they were classmates all along, but Saki had never noticed since Nagisa had not been attending school much. Nagisa explained that once she got accepted, she had been spending most of her time practicing cooking because she wanted Naoya to like her. She had put all of her effort into learning skills she thought would make her a better partner, even if it meant missing class. Saki and Naoya were both surprised. For Nagisa, though, the most important thing had always been her feelings for Naoya. Naoya was taken aback by how far she had gone and gently told her that she did not need to push herself so hard. Saki thought Nagisa might be a bit quirky, but Naoya seemed more concerned that she was sacrificing too much for his sake. He asked if she was forcing herself in other areas too, which made Nagisa a little worried. She did not want him to see her in a negative light, so she offered to make some sweets to lift the mood. Saki looked excited about that, but Naoya gently said it might be better to slow down and talk things through first. Naoya told Nagisa that it was time for her to start studying. Nagisa admitted that she was terrible at it. Naoya couldn't just sit by and let her fall behind in class, and he also wanted Saki to join them for their study session. Nagisa thought to herself that she didn't want to let Naoya down anymore, so she needed to face it wholeheartedly. After breakfast, Naoya began tutoring Saki and Nagisa, starting with the topic of factoring. He gave them a few practice problems. Saki managed to solve them, even though she actually hated studying and her answers were correct. Unfortunately, Nagisa didn't understand any of it. She quickly excused herself and went to the bathroom to think things over. She was worried that if this continued, Naoya might see her as stupid and become even more disappointed in her. She felt she had to find a way to figure out the problems he had given them. 30 minutes went by and Nagisa still hadn't come out of the bathroom, which made Naoya worried. He assumed she might not be feeling well. He knocked on the door and asked if she was okay, even offering to call an ambulance. Nagisa responded that she was fine and just having some constipation, so it was taking her a while. She felt she had managed to protect how Naoya saw her, but at the same time, she had lost something else. To make up for that loss, she decided to push herself and try to solve the factoring problems. She started learning the topic on her phone. Once she began to understand it a bit more, she decided it was time to face the challenge. She wanted to impress Naoya, even if just a little, because she wanted to be with him for as long as possible. Nagisa finally stepped out of the bathroom and told them that she could solve the factoring problem now. Naoya immediately bowed and apologized to her about earlier. Nagisa then solved the problem using the method she had just learned online. Sadly, after Naoya checked her answer, it turned out to be wrong. Still, Naoya encouraged her. He told her that everyone has their weaknesses, and she didn't need to worry about it. He said he would always be there to help her study, even if it took hours. Nagisa was surprised by his words. She told him that it didn't mean she couldn't solve the problem. Then she ran straight back to the bathroom and didn't come out for 3 hours. Before they left for school, Seki warned Naoya that no one could find out about their unusual relationship. She also told him to act like he didn't know Nagisa at school. Naoya wasn't okay with that, especially since he couldn't bear to leave Nagisa alone after she had been out of school for so long. From his perspective, there was nothing wrong with their relationship, but Seki reminded him that society didn't see it the same way. Nagisa agreed with Saki, mainly because she had never been to school before and didn't have anyone she could talk to about personal stuff. Saki made it clear that if Naoya and Nagisa wanted to continue this relationship, they had to follow her lead. Once they arrived in class, Nagisa sat alone. The other students started talking about her, realizing she had never been to class before. They also wondered why none of the teachers ever mentioned her absence. Saki felt guilty seeing Nagisa like that, but all their classmates already knew she and Naoya were dating, and she didn't want them thinking Naoya was cheating on her. Naoya became worried when he saw that no one was talking to Nagisa. He was sure that if things stayed that way, she would always be lonely. Feeling like he had to do something, he walked over to Nagisa and pretended to introduce himself for the first time. That way, their classmates would believe they had just met. But when he saw Nagisa's face, she looked so sad that he couldn't keep pretending. Naoya was about to confess that he was in a relationship with both Saki and Nagisa. But before he could finish, Saki rushed in and punched him to stop him from saying anything. Naoya got up and tried to speak the truth again, but Saki hit and slapped him repeatedly. He even tried to tell everyone that the three of them were living together, but Saki knocked him out cold before he could say another word. Saki took Naoya up to the rooftop to talk privately. She was confused because she had already told him to keep everything a secret. However, Naoya admitted that he just couldn't stand seeing Nagisa looking sad. Saki understood where he was coming from, but in her opinion, if everyone found out that Naoya was seeing another girl behind her back, they would definitely assume that he wasn't treating her properly, and she didn't want people to see her that way. Naoya was moved by what she said and told her that he really loved her. He believed that if he explained the situation clearly, everyone would eventually understand. Just as Seki was about to hit him again, Nagisa suddenly showed up. She told them that she was okay with everything because just being able to spend time with Naoya at home was already enough to make her happy. She begged them not to fight anymore. Nagisa then apologized, saying she had actually woken up very early that morning to prepare a homemade lunch for the three of them, even though she knew they wouldn't be able to eat together. She told Saki and Naoya to go ahead and eat the lunch together, and that she would wait to hear what they thought about it later at home. To avoid drawing attention to the fact that she had also brought lunch, she said she would eat hers in the bathroom. Hearing that, both Saki and Naoya were so touched that they started crying. Saki apologized for only thinking about herself and also for pretending not to know Nagisa at school. Naoya then suggested they just tell everyone the truth, but Saki proposed that instead, they should quietly get along while at school. The cohabitation life within a love triangle officially began. On the very first day, Nagisa was already suspected by Saki after seeing something she wasn't supposed to see. That moment left Nagisa shutting herself in the bathroom, trying to figure out how to make up for her mistake. Even so, she still felt genuinely happy because she finally got the chance to live with Naoya. In order for their three-way relationship to keep going, they needed to keep it a secret from school. On top of that, Nagisa was asked to pretend like she didn't know either Saki or Naoya. But instead of playing along, she ended up making lunch for all three of them. Unfortunately, they couldn't eat together that day. Saki said that pretending not to know each other just to hide their relationship wasn't right, so Naoya invited them to secretly eat lunch on the rooftop without drawing attention. Nagisa told them not to go through all that trouble just for her. To her, just being able to live with Naoya after he agreed to be in a relationship with both of them was already enough. She thought it would be selfish to expect to be happy at school too. They almost got caught because Saki's voice was a little too loud and someone outside heard her. Saki said she didn't mind eating together, especially since Nagisa had made the lunch with that in mind. Naoya commented on how nice Nagisa was, but Saki immediately hit him because he shouted. Nagisa admitted that eating lunch together actually made her happy. After hearing that, both Naoya and Saki excitedly shouted, inviting her to eat together. Unfortunately, their voices were heard by a teacher. The teacher scolded them since students weren't allowed on the rooftop, and all three of them ended up running away. They went looking for a new place to eat their lunch. Nagisa said she knew a quiet spot at school because back in middle school, she used to hang out alone in quiet places. That quiet place turned out to be a bathroom. Saki said there was no way she could eat in a place that smelled like that. Nagisa explained that the bathroom behind the school was rarely cleaned, so nobody ever went there during lunch. Saki asked if there was really nowhere else. Nagisa then led them behind the bathroom, but Saki couldn't handle the smell anymore, especially with bugs crawling around. Next, Nagisa took them to a cleaner bathroom near the club rooms. But to Saki, it was still just a bathroom, and on top of that, Naoya shouldn't be going to the girls' bathroom. She told Naoya to get out. Coincidentally, two girls saw them standing at the entrance of the bathroom. The two students walked off, clearly curious about what Saki and Naoya were doing in front of the girls' restroom. Saki felt incredibly embarrassed and was sure the two of them had the wrong idea. Saki begged Naoya and Nagisa to find somewhere, anywhere, that wasn't a bathroom. She was certain there had to be a better option. Naoya suggested the sports equipment storage room. Saki agreed, but Nagisa pointed out that the storage room got more foot traffic than the bathroom. Saki said students wouldn't go there during lunch, so it should be fine. Still, Nagisa brought up how bathrooms were quieter since their doors couldn't be opened from the outside. Saki asked her to stop comparing everything to bathrooms. Nagisa apologized for being so insistent. She just didn't want their relationship to be exposed. Naoya reassured her that it wasn't selfish at all. No matter what, the three of them needed to make decisions like this together, and once they got used to it, it wouldn't be so hard. Naoya then invited Nagisa to go check the storage room. Unfortunately, the room was locked from the outside. Naoya punched the wall in frustration, hurting his hand. Not long after, Saki noticed that the side window of the room was slightly open. Nagisa climbed onto Naoya's shoulders to peek through the window, but Saki ended up smacking Naoya because she thought he was looking up Nagisa's skirt. Eventually, the three of them managed to get inside the storage room. They worked together to move some equipment around so they could stay hidden in case anyone came in. Naoya admitted that the whole idea of being in a relationship with both girls had started from his own selfishness. He knew there were going to be lots of problems ahead, but he promised to keep trying and said he didn't regret anything. At the very least, he was grateful to be with Nagisa in that moment. He confessed that out of the three of them, he was the most selfish and the one who caused the most trouble. Saki agreed, saying that even when Nagisa acted a little selfish, it actually made her seem kind of cute. Nagisa smiled and thanked them. She was really looking forward to having lunch together with the three of them. They ended up eating in the sports equipment storage room. Saki absolutely loved the lunch Nagisa had made. It was seriously the most delicious, and Naoya also praised her cooking. Out of the blue, Saki pointed out that their current situation felt kind of strange, but to Nagisa, it was actually kind of exciting. She hoped the three of them could continue to stay close and support one another. Saki mentioned the house was really dusty, so Naoya suggested they clean it together next time. Saki was thrilled, especially since Nagisa brought a variety of homemade lunches every day. Omelette rice, meat sandwiches, even tempura rice balls. According to her, Nagisa always put a lot of effort into cooking. Nagisa said she just wanted to make Naoya happy. Hearing that, Saki hugged her and said how thoughtful she was. Naoya promised he would do his best to make both of them even happier. Curious, Nagisa asked if there was anything he or Saki wanted from her. Naoya said she was already incredibly kind, but Nagisa insisted she wanted to do even more. She even said that if Naoya ever needed help financially, she would be willing to work hard to support him. That comment made Saki imagine Nagisa taking on an exhausting job and before the thought got too dramatic, Naoya quickly told Nagisa not to worry about working at all. He joked that if it ever came to that, he would rather volunteer for weird scientific studies or join a tuna fishing crew himself. Saki began to realize just how much Nagisa truly cared for Naoya. Hearing that, Naoya turned to Saki and apologized for ever making her feel hurt. He admitted he had been too laid back and promised to express his love and appreciation for her every single day. Nagisa confessed she felt a little jealous of Saki sometimes, when she said that Naoya told her he would treat her just as sincerely. Saki was surprised by how serious Nagisa was about her feelings. It was clear that she really liked Naoya. When Nagisa asked if Saki felt the same way, Saki started reflecting. Maybe she had done a few things for Naoya, but when she thought about it, she realized she often left the chores to others, asked to be served during meals, and took warm baths while everyone else helped around the house. That realization hit her hard. She had not really done much for Naoya, and she started to worry that her place as his girlfriend was at risk. Compared to her, Nagisa seemed more thoughtful, more affectionate, and overall more dependable. Overwhelmed by insecurity, Saki suddenly shouted and jumped out the window, leaving Naoya and Nagisa completely confused. She ran off yelling that she would not lose to Nagisa. She texted Shino, saying she would skip club activities that day. Saki just needed time to think. She started asking herself what she could do for Naoya, how she could genuinely make him happy. Up until then, she realized she had mostly just gotten caught up in her own feelings. Eventually, Saki returned to Naoya's house. He was relieved to see her safe after she had taken off so suddenly. When he asked what had happened, Saki brushed it off and changed the subject. She asked if there was anything he wanted from her. But instead of answering, Naoya turned the question around. Was there anything she wanted? Since Saki never really asked for anything, Naoya decided to surprise her with a slice of cake and a cup of tea. But even then, Saki realized that was not what she truly wanted. Determined, she headed to the supermarket, planning to make a delicious home-cooked meal to show Naoya how much she cared. She was set on putting in the same kind of effort as Nagisa. While shopping, she spotted a pack of chewing gum and bought it without thinking. Once home, she realized it was the only thing she had bought. Improvising, she decided to make curry instead. She chopped vegetables and put them on the stove, but then got distracted watching videos and ended up burning the food. Even so, she served the curry, and surprisingly, Naoya said it still tasted good. That night, Saki felt a growing sense of self-doubt. She worried that Naoya might drift toward Nagisa instead. Around 2 a.m., she quietly climbed onto Naoya's bed and told him she felt anxious. She asked if he ever thought about taking their relationship to a deeper level. Naoya was caught off guard. He gently reminded her that they had agreed not to rush into anything. Saki said she understood, but admitted she sometimes wondered how he truly felt. Naoya reassured her. He said it was important to stay true to the promises they had made to each other, and that if she ever felt uneasy, he would always be there to talk and listen. Saki asked Naoya how he could stay so calm when they were physically close. She started wondering if it was because her chest was smaller and whether Naoya preferred Nagisa's figure instead. Overwhelmed by her thoughts, Saki burst into tears and ran out of Naoya's room. Crying loudly, she ended up going back to her own house, which was right next door. Nagisa, who had heard the noise, rushed over and asked Naoya what had happened. He explained that Saki had run away and mentioned she had suddenly asked whether he liked Nagisa's body more. Nagisa was completely confused. With Saki gone, it was just the two of them in the house, and she started wondering if this was the start of something more between her and Naoya. She even began to imagine what it might feel like to grow closer to him. But Naoya quickly apologized for worrying her and promised to make things right with Saki. He tried messaging Saki, but she did not respond. So he decided to speak with her in person the next morning. Nagisa realized that this was technically her chance to be alone with Naoya, but she chose to support his feelings. She asked if there was anything she could do to help. Naoya said he needed to handle it himself and that he would not sleep until he had resolved things with Saki. Nagisa reminded him not to push himself too hard. Naoya believed Saki was feeling anxious about their three-way relationship and wanted to ease her concerns as soon as possible. His first idea was to write a heartfelt letter to her overnight. Nagisa offered to make him a nutritious meal while he worked. The next day, Naoya stood on his roof and shouted in an attempt to get Saki to talk to him, but she refused. He threw a stack of letters her way, hoping she would read them. Saki caught the letters but immediately tossed them back, not even opening one. So Naoya started reading them out loud. That did not work either. Trying another approach, Naoya offered something else. A game account from Saki's favorite mobile game, worth 100,000 yen, which he had purchased with his savings. He promised to give it to her if she would just talk to him. but Saiki made it clear that something like that would not change her mind. According to Nagisa, Naoya was definitely going too far. Still, Naoya was not ready to give up. He went out and bought a bunch of sweets from a famous bakery, all just for Saki. He begged her again to talk to him, but she continued to ignore him. Seeing this, Nagisa urged him to rest. The next day, Naoya tried again. He told Saki that he had filmed cute cats and dogs from around the neighborhood. For a moment, Saiki seemed interested, but she brushed it off, saying there were already plenty of those online. Refusing to give up, Naoya gave her a notebook full of study notes he had written just for her, but she still would not look at it. Nagisa started getting really worried. Naoya had not slept in 3 days. She begged him to take a break. Still, he continued to try to talk to Saki. In frustration, Saiki sarcastically told him to go spend time with Nagisa, the one with the figure he clearly liked better. At that moment, Naoya realized that Saiki was still feeling insecure. He quickly reassured her that appearances did not matter to him. To prove it, he even showed her his social media account, which followed people of all different body types. Saki, however, was completely put off by that and told him he was being weird. Nagisa grew increasingly worried about Naoya's health and again urged him to rest, but Naoya insisted he was fine. That was when Nagisa gently asked him if being with just her would be enough, if Saki chose to stay distant. She promised she would make him happy every single day and said she was willing to support him in any way she could. Naoya was deeply moved by her words and appreciated Nagisa's feelings, but he also remembered his promise to be with both Saki and Nagisa. He said he could not give up on either of them and gently apologized. Nagisa was touched by his honesty and tears welled up in her eyes. That moment reminded her why she had fallen for him in the first place. Then she said she wanted to help in her own way. To everyone's surprise, Nagisa suddenly called out to Saki and asked her to watch. She took Naoya's hand and held it against her chest area, not in a suggestive way, but as a symbolic gesture of closeness and sincerity. Shocked by the display, Saki jumped in and ran toward them. And just like that, she finally began to talk again. Previously, Naoya decided to live with Saki and Nagisa in his house, hoping to grow closer to both of his girlfriends. At first, things seemed to be going smoothly, until Saki started acting strangely. Naoya couldn't bring himself to betray Nagisa, so he turned down Saki's offer to be intimate in secret. Hurt by the rejection, Saki suddenly left and went back to her own home, shutting herself off emotionally. Trying to reconnect with her, Naoya tried different things, buying her cake, giving her games, even sending videos of cats and dogs she liked, but none of it worked. Then, unexpectedly, Nagisa made a bold move. She guided Naoya's hand toward her chest, catching Saki's attention just as she happened to be on the rooftop next door. The moment she saw what was happening, she jumped from her house's roof to Naoya's rooftop to confront them. That sudden appearance gave Naoya the chance to finally talk to Saki. Naoya asked why she ran away, and Saki confessed it was because she felt inferior to Nagisa. She believed Nagisa was better than her in every way. Nagisa always tried hard for Naoya. She was great at cooking, and Saki felt like she couldn't do anything. She even pointed out that her chest was smaller than Nagisa's. Naoya gently told her not to bring that up. Saki continued, saying that part of her felt lost because she didn't know what she could do for Naoya. With things as they were, she was convinced Naoya would be happier if he were just with Nagisa. But Naoya reached out, held her hand, and told her she was wrong. He said that just being near her made him genuinely happy. That answer made Saki upset. In her view, Naoya should have told her what he really wanted from her. But Naoya said that her presence alone was enough. Frustrated, Saki punched Naoya, knocking him to the ground. She said she really wanted to do something meaningful for him. But when she asked what he wanted, all he did was deflect the question. There were times where she couldn't help with chores, and instead of asking for help, Naoya told her to rest, even going as far as preparing a bath for her. He showed so much care, buying her cake, making her tea, and he never asked for anything in return. So she woke Naoya up and asked him directly why he never wanted anything from her. Naoya admitted that of course there were many things he wanted from her, things that would bring him joy. But because of the complicated relationship they had, he felt responsible. He believed it was his duty to do everything he could for both Saki and Nagisa first. Nagisa chimed in, saying that it was understandable why Saki ran away. She compared it to her own feelings. When she wanted to do more for Naoya, and he kept saying it wasn't necessary, it was actually kind of discouraging. She pointed out that Naoya should be the one asking for things from them. It would make things feel more balanced. Saki agreed. While she loved being cared for, she also wanted to make Naoya happy and hoped he would fall deeper in love with her too. Nagisa said she truly understood how Saki felt. The two girls shared a moment of mutual understanding, acknowledging that they felt this way because they were both Naoya's girlfriends. Naoya was moved by what they said. Nagisa asked him not to carry the burden of responsibility all by himself. Saki reminded him that the three of them were equals, and that's what being in a relationship should mean. In that moment, Naoya felt like he didn't deserve to be happy unless both of his girlfriends were happy first. He admitted that he had been foolish and even gave them permission to hit him once. Without hesitation, Saki punched him again, surprising Nagisa, but Saki said she did it because Naoya asked her to do something for him. Naoya told her that it was exactly that kind of straightforward, passionate attitude that made him love her, and that it made him happy to have her by his side. He said he wanted to see her smile more often, to see her angry face sometimes, to eat food she cooked, to see her in a swimsuit in the summer, and someday, he even wanted the three of them to experience being intimate together. But above all, he wanted the three of them to live together always. Hearing that, Saki finally understood what Naoya meant. He said he was happy to see her and Nagisa getting along like that, but Saki reminded him that Nagisa was still her rival. Nagisa smiled at her and confidently said she wasn't planning on losing to Saki. That night, just like usual, Nagisa had already prepared dinner. She cooked up a whole variety of dishes and admitted that she really gave it her all to celebrate Saki coming back home. Saki was a bit surprised. Nagisa had put in so much effort, yet Naoya had fallen asleep. Nagisa explained that it was because Naoya had stayed up for 3 days straight just trying to make things right with Saki. So the two of them ended up having dinner without Naoya. The moment Saki tasted the food, she was amazed. It was seriously delicious, and Nagisa looked really happy to hear that. Saki reminded her that they were still rivals. Nagisa understood, but she also admitted that she liked Saki and wanted them to get along. To her surprise, Saki actually felt the same way. Saki pointed out that if they got too close, it might feel like they were giving in to Naoya's selfishness. Even so, she said Nagisa was impressive and that things would probably be way more fun if they were on good terms. She figured anything they did together would end up being a good time. Then Saki asked what kind of getting along they were talking about. She mentioned she liked playing video games and invited Nagisa to play with her. Nagisa was totally up for it, especially since she had played that particular game before. When Saki asked how many hours she had put into it, Nagisa admitted she had spent around 1,000 hours, but still was not very good at it. Saki could not believe it. 1,000 hours and still bad. She was curious to see Nagisa in action. It only took a few seconds. Nagisa's character was defeated right away. Saki laughed it off and restarted the game. Even after a few more tries, Nagisa's character kept getting knocked out almost immediately. Saki teased her for it, saying she really was terrible and could not believe someone could play that long and still struggle so much. Nagisa apologized and said she was probably not much fun to play with, but Saki actually found it fun in a different way. She said it felt like a good challenge and declared they would not go to sleep until Nagisa got at least one win in the game. Nagisa laughed, saying that probably meant they would not sleep at all. They started another round, and once again, Nagisa's character was taken out quickly. Saki stepped in and defeated both opponents herself. Nagisa praised her, saying she was seriously impressive. Saki responded by saying Nagisa was kind of adorable when she failed so fast. They kept playing, and every time Nagisa's character lost, Saki would help out or heal her. Nagisa said it actually made the game more fun, and Saki added that it would be even better once Nagisa improved a bit. At one point, while Saki was teaching her how to aim in the game, Nagisa accidentally hit her instead. Saki scolded her, and Nagisa explained she had pressed the wrong button. Saki jokingly asked if she had done it on purpose, maybe because she was jealous of Saki's gaming skills. Nagisa panicked a little, trying to explain herself, which made Saki laugh even more. She said Nagisa was hilarious and asked how she could miss that badly. Nagisa apologized again, but Saki snapped a picture of her flustered expression. She had not expected her perfect rival to be so clumsy. Just then, Naoya walked in and greeted them while they were still playing. Saki called Nagisa her rival again, but said she was super cute. She even invited Nagisa to play again sometime. The two of them looked genuinely happy. They were clearly becoming good friends. Nagisa said she would start watching tutorials on Matu to get better. She even showed Saki one of the videos she planned to study. Saki looked at the video and commented that the content creator was not all that skilled and probably just got views by focusing on her appearance. The video thumbnail made it obvious the creator was dressed to attract attention, and she happened to be someone Saki really did not like at the moment. When Naoya looked more closely, he noticed that the outfit hanging in the background looked like their school uniform. The next morning, Naoya walked to school with Saki, while Nagisa followed behind them. Before long, Shino greeted them and commented on how close Naoya and Saki seemed as usual. Later that day, the three of them had lunch together in the sports storage room. Lunch was steak and Saki absolutely loved it. Saki suggested that she and Nagisa play another round of their game after school. It turned out Nagisa had been watching videos to try and improve. When she opened a video on MedTube, she noticed that the thumbnail from the day before had been changed. The content creator's name was Milika. The original thumbnail had shown a school uniform in the background, but the new one did not. Saki guessed the uniform had been edited out, meaning Milika was likely a student at their school. She said Milika should be more careful if she wanted to keep that kind of thing private, like how they had snuck into the storage room through the window without anyone noticing. Before long, the girl climbed in through the window, and Saki instantly realized she had forgotten to lock it. The girl was really cute, which caught Saki off guard. She panicked and tried to come up with an excuse. The girl looked around and saw one guy and two girls in the sports storage room. She gave them a suspicious look and asked if something strange was going on. Saki quickly denied it, clearly flustered. Then, out of nowhere, Naoya blurted out that while he was dating both girls, he had promised to keep the relationship respectful, nothing inappropriate. Saki immediately smacked him. The girl looked confused and asked if the three of them were actually in a relationship. They could not deny it. Saki pleaded with her to keep it a secret, but the girl just smirked, saying she was enjoying seeing Saki panic. Saki even dropped to her knees, begging. Trying to fix the situation, Naoya offered her 200,000 yen to keep quiet. He explained it was his savings, money he had been putting aside since he was a kid, brought just in case something like this ever happened. But the girl declined. She dropped the money and said she could earn more than that in a month. Naoya was shocked. There was no way a high school student could make that much money so quickly, unless something unusual was going on. He hesitated and said that while she was clearly talented and had a strong presence, he was worried someone might take advantage of that. He warned her to be careful, especially online where people are not always trustworthy. That upset her. She raised her voice and said she was not doing anything wrong. Naoya, still curious, asked how she managed to earn that kind of money. That was when Nagisa suddenly spoke up. She asked if the girl was Milika, the popular MedTuber. She pointed out the resemblance, the same eyes, the same hairstyle, and even the same energy. She guessed Milika must have been earning income from her viewers. The girl denied it, but Nagisa seemed sure. She brought up an old video thumbnail that had a school uniform visible in the background. The girl froze for a second. She admitted she had noticed that and quickly deleted the video. But just like that, the truth slipped out. Seki was delighted. Now she had a secret about the girl too. She teased her, saying she must have come to the storage room to avoid being recognized. The girl warned Saki not to tell anyone, but Saki countered with her own warning. Now they were even, each holding the other's secret. Saki promised not to say a word about Milika's identity. Naoya added that even if Milika decided to reveal their unusual relationship, he would still keep her secret safe. But Seki chimed in and said that if that ever happened, she would reveal everything. The girl was taken aback. For such a complicated and unusual dynamic, they were surprisingly supportive of each other. Then, unexpectedly, the girl made a bold announcement. She said she wanted to be Noe's girlfriend too. The room went silent. Saki, Naoya, and Nagisa were completely stunned. Mirika is a famous MedTuber who goes to the same school as Naoya, Saki, and Nagisa. One day, she accidentally catches them sneaking around in the sports storage room. Thinking it would be funny to tease them, she jokingly threatens to tell someone, but the three recognize her as the well-known MedTuber. Realizing she has been exposed, Mirika suddenly declares that she wants to be Noe's girlfriend. She tells them that the cute and popular streamer wants to join his relationship as a third partner. Saki is confused by Mirika's sudden proposal, and Nagisa wonders if she is afraid of her online identity being exposed or targeted by obsessive fans. Maybe she's looking for someone she can rely on. Mirika denies it, but both girls start to suspect otherwise. She then admits she just wants a boyfriend and feels like she cannot ask anyone else. Naoya responds that since she denied having hidden motives, they should respect that. Saki is surprised that Naoya takes Mirika at her word. Mirika, amused, suggests that Naoya must be pleased since she is confident in her looks and personality. Naoya agrees that she is cute and says she seems charming, especially after watching some of her MedTube videos. Still, he turns her down, saying he cannot date her. Saki and Nagisa are relieved, while Mirika is completely shocked. Naoya apologizes and reassures her that she will surely find someone else. Mirika is puzzled. After all, she is more popular than both Saki and Nagisa. Her words sting, but Naoya calmly replies that popularity does not change how he feels. Frustrated, Mirika challenges his logic. After all, Naoya is already in a relationship with more than one person. She does not understand why you draw the line now. Naoya says that if he accepted everyone who was attractive, there would be no end to it. His goal is not to collect relationships, but to focus on making the ones he already has truly happy. Saki and Nagisa are touched by this, though Mirika is still confused. She finds his reasoning difficult to accept, but Naoya stands by it. Saki reminds Mirika that Naoya already has 2 girlfriends. Mirika, however, is not ready to give up. She tries to emphasize her dedication and even her lifestyle choices. Saki and Nagisa are visibly uncomfortable with how far Mirika is willing to go. Still, Naoya calmly tells her that he is not interested in that kind of approach. He says that affection and trust matter more to him. Mirika, feeling embarrassed and rejected, reacts loudly. Saki suggests they leave the storage room and casually asks what is for dinner. Nagisa replies that she will make meat and potato stew. As they prepare to leave, Mirika demands not to be ignored. When she hears them talking about dinner, she asks if they are living together. Saki panics, afraid their situation might be exposed, and tells Nagisa to run. Before Naoya can leave, Mirika unexpectedly pushes him. She then says she wants to live with them. This surprises all 3. Mirika says she understands if Naoya does not accept her feelings right away, but wants to prove herself over time. She even offers to help cover the cost of living. Naoya tells her they cannot live together unless they are in a relationship. Mirika is taken aback by his serious response. She finds it strange that someone already dating 2 people would have such boundaries. Frustrated, she runs off. The 3 of them are left hungry and rush to eat lunch together. The next day after school, Nagisa, Saki, and Naoya were shocked to find a tent set up in the yard. It turned out that Mirika had pitched it herself. She explained that if she could not stay inside the house, she would stay outside instead. Naoya was surprised by how far she was willing to go. When Nagisa asked how she had found their house, Mirika admitted she had quietly followed Saki and Naoya home. She declared that they would regret underestimating her and was determined to win over Naoya's heart. Seki wondered aloud whether they should contact the authorities, but Mirika quickly stopped her. Naoya and Seki were still trying to process Mirika's persistence. She said she would remain in the tent until she changed Naoya's mind. Saki called the whole situation troublesome, while Nagisa pointed out how difficult it must be to live in a tent, especially with the cold weather. Naoya warned her that the temperature would drop significantly that night, but Mirika insisted she could handle it. Sure enough, that night brought heavy rain. Mirika was freezing inside her tent, and to make matters worse, she had an unexpected encounter with a centipede. Terrified, she ran out of the tent. From inside the house, Naoya, Saki, and Nagisa had been watching. Naoya urged her to stop being reckless and suggested she return home, but Mirika refused. She said she would not leave until she had proven her sincerity. Naoya asked whether she truly planned to live outside indefinitely and explained that both of his girlfriends meant a lot to him. He gently encouraged her to move on. Mirika felt misunderstood. She insisted she was prepared. Her sleeping bag was built for cold weather, and she would buy anything else she needed. She even planned to fund her stay by creating online content. Mirika began filming herself as she tried to endure the cold while dressed lightly, claiming that it would help boost her channel. She went on to demonstrate her determination by exercising on camera, doing push-ups and sit-ups. Even though it helped her stay warm, she found it exhausting. Saki wondered if Mirika would really make it until morning. As the hours passed, Mirika kept moving, doing squats, spinning a hula hoop, and even eating instant noodles. But after eating, she felt the cold again. At around 4 a.m., Nagisa woke up and was surprised to see Mirika still outside. Eventually, morning arrived and Mirika had managed to endure the night. A package from an online store she had ordered from arrived and she was thrilled. She excitedly asked Naoya for his thoughts. Naoya simply suggested she go home and take a shower. Saki mentioned that she could use one. Realizing how uncomfortable she felt, Mirika came up with an improvised solution. Following an article she read online, she heated water by placing it under the sun for 2 hours. She then made a makeshift shower by poking holes in a plastic bag. It worked, and she was able to clean up and change clothes. Afterward, she proudly asked Naoya if he was impressed. Naoya admitted she was surprisingly resilient. Seki was taken aback that she had lasted that long outdoors, while Nagisa wondered what they should do next. That evening, Saki and Nagisa talked about the situation. Saki still found Mirika's presence to be a bit much. Nagisa, however, said Mirika seemed genuine and driven. She admitted Mirika was bold and persistent. Saki then quietly shared with Nagisa a plan to keep Mirika from getting too close to Naoya. While soaking in the bath, Naoya found himself thinking deeply about the unresolved situation with Mirika. He realized that continuing to date both Saki and Nagisa was not going to be easy, and making both of them happy would take real effort and thought. Just then, Saki spoke to him from outside the bathroom door, saying that she and Nagisa had already discussed how to handle the Mirika situation. Naoya replied that he had been thinking the same thing. Saki and Nagisa then entered the bathroom wearing swimsuits, which caught Naoya off guard. Nagisa was visibly embarrassed, but Saki told her they needed to stay focused on their shared goal. Naoya was confused and asked why they were wearing swimsuits in the first place. Saki explained that they wanted to spend more time with him and grow closer emotionally, especially since Mirika was trying so hard to win his attention. She said they wanted to strengthen their relationship with him so that he would not be swayed by Mirika's advances. She even mentioned that Naoya had previously shown interest in seeing them in swimsuits, though Naoya brushed off that idea and told her she was reading too much into things. Frustrated, Saki playfully pinched his cheek and asked what he actually wanted. As Nagisa stepped forward to join the conversation, she accidentally slipped and fell against Naoya, making the moment even more awkward. She immediately apologized, saying that if doing something made Naoya happy, then she would be happy too. Saki, not wanting to be left behind, tried to join in but ended up feeling embarrassed when the strap of her swimsuit came undone. She quickly covered herself and asked if Naoya had seen anything. Naoya said he only saw a glimpse, which made Saki flustered. She then joked that he would probably fall for her now. Naoya, staying focused, reminded both of them that there were still more serious things to figure out, especially how to handle the situation with Mirika. Nagisa then revealed that the swimsuit idea had originally been Saki's, and admitted she thought the whole approach was a bit much. However, she also said she agreed that spending quality time together and strengthening their relationship was important. Even if it felt a little embarrassing, she wanted to do her part because she had chosen to be with Naoya and wanted their relationship to last. She added that they all needed to stay focused when it came to Mirika, because she was clearly determined. Naoya was moved by what Nagisa said. He realized that the bond between her and Saki had grown stronger, and that the effort they were putting into their relationship mattered. Though his mind was filled with many thoughts, he understood that this was the heart of the issue, maintaining that connection. At one point, Naoya unintentionally glanced at Nagisa and made her feel awkward, prompting her to call them out. He quickly reassured her that it was not intentional. Saki lightheartedly commented that Nagisa had a strong presence, to which Nagisa responded with more embarrassment. Meanwhile, Mirika, who had fallen asleep comfortably in her tent thanks to her sleeping bag, continued to dream about her mission to win Naoya's heart. In her sleep, she quietly repeated her determination to keep trying. Mirika started living in the yard of Naoya's house and without hesitation declared that she wanted to be Naoya's third girlfriend. She endured the cold, insects, and even sweat. Mirika remained firm in her decision to stay and refused to leave until she won Naoya's heart. Naoya realized that he had to act fast to protect his complicated situation. He apologized to Saki and Nagisa for making them worry and asked them to be patient, assuring them that he would find a way to make Mirika give up. That evening, Mirika was grilling meat near her tent, fully adapted to her life in the tent, showing her high determination. Naoya knew he had to do something. He approached Mirika and begged her to go home. Mirika told him that she wouldn't leave until she won Naoya over. Naoya explained that that was the problem. He already had 2 girlfriends and he couldn't have more. Hearing this, Saki and Nagisa were touched. Naoya pleaded with Mirika to understand that he couldn't return her feelings. Unfortunately, Mirika refused to leave just because Naoya rejected her. Naoya then told Mirika to pack up her tent, but she refused, stating that she had her dignity. Mirika even threatened to throw hot charcoal at him if he touched her tent. Nagisa suggested that Naoya should step back, while Saki remarked that Mirika was really stubborn. Naoya promised that he would make Mirika go home soon. Nagisa believed Naoya didn't have to push Mirika so hard and thought they could convince her over time. Saki, on the other hand, warned that if they weren't careful, Mirika might do something drastic. She suggested that they should try to gradually get Mirika to leave. They saw Mirika leaving, but Saki suspected she was heading to the nearby convenience store's restroom. Naoya suddenly saw this as an opportunity and immediately called someone to sell Mirika's belongings. Saki quickly snatched Naoya's phone, thinking that he was going too far. Naoya asked why Saki stopped him, wondering if she was worried about being left out again. Saki quickly denied it. Naoya insisted that she give him back his phone, and Nagisa asked why he made such a decision. She also urged him to calm down. Naoya asked if Saki and Nagisa weren't worried that he might fall for Mirika, especially since he had been spending so much time with her. Saki asked if Naoya had already rejected Mirika when she asked to be his girlfriend. Naoya responded that those were just the words of someone who was selfishly trying to have two relationships at once. Saki and Nagisa were surprised by how Naoya spoke about himself that way. According to Naoya, if he were in Saki and Nagisa's position, he would be worried that the person he liked might start seeing someone else. Nagisa acknowledged that Naoya had a point, but from a more general perspective, she thought there was an 80% chance that Naoya might end up dating Mirika. Naoya said that they had to act quickly, and once again asked Saki to return his phone. However, Saki stopped him and told him to calm down first, as that was just the usual perspective. Nagisa mentioned that although they had been living together for long, she understood Naoya's sincerity and seriousness. Saki then asked if Naoya had any intentions of liking Mirika. Naoya admitted that he had no such intentions. Hearing this, Nagisa and Saki said they still trusted him. Naoya felt grateful and thanked them for being his girlfriends, as he was lucky to have them. Nagisa suggested they should carry out their mission gradually. Unfortunately, Naoya then admitted that he didn't have the resolve to always remain uninterested in Mirika. Without further hesitation, Saki immediately locked her arm around Naoya's, causing him pain. Naoya realized that although he had promised to care for Saki, he had ended up falling for Nagisa. He admitted that he was weak-willed and wouldn't be able to forget it, so he needed to reflect on all his actions. He thought Mirika was cute and very persistent. She worked hard to create videos and managed to achieve results. To him, Mirika was truly impressive. Naoya also admitted that the longer he spent time with Mirika, the more captivated he became by her. It's possible that Naoya could fall in love with her, but he wouldn't mind if Mirika hated or got angry with him. Although it was sad, Naoya was determined to try his best to only have feelings for Saki and Nagisa. Saki immediately stood up and hit Naoya on the head. She said that there was a limit to how sad things could get, but she was grateful that Naoya was honest before liking her. Saki then returned Naoya's phone and suggested that he, along with Nagisa, help kick Mirika out of Naoya's yard. Nagisa even said that if Mirika got mad, she would take the blame too. Naoya looked deeply touched and thanked them, promising that he would do it right away. That day, Mirika's father sent her a message asking where she was. Mirika replied that she was staying over at her friend Saki's house. She also told him that she was busy so he wouldn't bother her. At that moment, Naoya said that the second-hand goods buyer would be arriving soon. Saki and Nagisa were working together to clean up the tent, while Naoya would try to delay Mirika. Their mission was to sell the tent and other items, then make sure Mirika would go back to her house so that Saki and Nagisa wouldn't worry that Naoya might fall for someone else before he fell for Mirika. Naoya quickly blocked Mirika from heading back to her yard. He tried to talk to her, but Mirika refused, knowing that Naoya just wanted her to go home. She claimed she was busy trying to melt Naoya's heart. Naoya insisted that they should think things through together. Mirika, feeling frustrated, said that if she was rejected by a sad guy like Naoya, her life wouldn't be worth living. Naoya tried to hold her back and asked what she had told her parents when she came to his yard. Mirika snapped that it wasn't any of his business and that she didn't even care about her parents. Naoya kept trying to stop Mirika, which made her suspicious. She wondered if Naoya was hiding something from her. Naoya assured her that he wasn't planning on stopping her, but Mirika didn't believe him. She lied to Naoya, saying that Saki and Nagisa were being harassed by some punks. As soon as Mirika let her guard down, she kicked Naoya's leg and ran off. Mirika caught Saki and Nagisa in the act of loading her belongings into the car of a second-hand goods buyer. Mirika was furious and demanded to know what Saki was doing with her stuff. She ordered them to take everything down. As Mirika raged, Naoya quickly grabbed her and pulled her away. Mirika fought back and slapped Naoya on the head, asking why he was doing this to her. She even threatened to make him wet his pants. Surprisingly, Naoya responded that if Mirika really wanted that, he would wet himself right there. Since Naoya refused to let go, Mirika screamed, claiming that a pervert was going to assault her. She shouted for help, hoping people would come to her aid. Naoya didn't care if the neighbors thought he was some pervert. He only tightened his hold on her. Mirika was puzzled, realizing that if she acted like that, she could be the subject of gossip for the rest of her life. According to Naoya, if he was only worried about that, he wouldn't be so torn between his feelings. Saki and Nagisa felt relieved and told Naoya not to yell unnecessarily. Naoya told Saki to quickly carry all the stuff away, and Mirika stepped on Naoya's foot, saying that they had no idea how much her camping equipment was worth. As Mirika was about to take a step, Naoya grabbed her calf, causing her to fall. He said he would pay for everything. Mirika responded that Naoya had to pay 1 million yen. Naoya was surprised by the high cost, and Mirika asked that he couldn't afford it. The actual cost was only around 200,000 yen, but Naoya then said he was willing to work hard to pay it, but in return, Mirika had to stay away from him. All the items were loaded into the car and the agent handed over the money, but Naoya told the agent to take it back. Mirika was confused by Naoya's actions. Eventually, they succeeded, and Mirika asked why Naoya had to go that far. She called him a coward who was indecisive. Naoya admitted that he couldn't choose between Saki and Nagisa, so he decided to make both of them happy. He even said that Nagisa would do anything for them. Saki remarked that there was no other choice and that she would work, and Nagisa agreed to help. Naoya thanked them both. Mirika was still baffled by their behavior, wondering how Naoya could be indecisive, but not a coward. Naoya had even written a debt letter, but Saki asked Mirika to stay away from Naoya. However, Mirika tore up the debt letter, saying she didn't need it, which surprised the three of them. Mirika then hugged Naoya, stating that she wasn't going home. Saki asked why Mirika refused to leave, and Mirika replied that it was none of Saki's business. It would still be an issue for Naoya if Mirika remained near his house. Mirika admitted that she disliked Naoya paying her to leave. Soon, Mirika's father arrived. Mirika was surprised that her father knew where she was. It turned out he had even asked around at her school to find her. He asked why Mirika hadn't come home, and she said she had many reasons for it. Mirika confessed that she had stayed at Naoya's house. Her father asked if Naoya was her boyfriend, and Naoya replied that he wasn't, and that he already had 2 valuable girlfriends. Mirika's father then asked if Mirika was pursuing a man who couldn't make up his mind. Mirika admitted that she didn't like Naoya but wouldn't mind dating him if he wanted to, though Naoya still rejected her. Saki felt that Mirika might have started to fall for Naoya, and it turned out Nagisa felt the same way. They were concerned that if those feelings grew, it could be dangerous if Mirika truly fell for Naoya. Mirika's father asked her to stop chasing after him. Saki urged Naoya to kick Mirika out. Mirika's father stated that Naoya wasn't a good man since he was indecisive. Naoya confirmed that he had no intention of dating Mirika and told her to go home. Hearing that, Mirika's father was offended, as it implied that his daughter wasn't attractive. Saki found Mirika's father equally troublesome. Mirika's father said that while Mirika was selfish, he had raised her alone. Naoya suddenly admitted that Mirika was truly captivating. Even though it was their first meeting, he recognized her sincerity and determination, especially since Mirika already had 50,000 subscribers on Metu. He thought that despite her young age, Mirika was extremely charming. Saki was sure that Naoya's statement made Mirika's heart race. Unfortunately, dating Mirika was a whole different matter. Mirika's father had just found out that she was a Matuber, and he immediately watched her videos. He was shocked because in the video, Mirika's chest was exposed to the world. Her father called the video embarrassing, but according to Naoya, Mirika's channel wasn't just about her chest. It also showcased her ideas, video editing, and the way she engaged with her audience. Naoya believed Mirika had successfully combined all these elements into an entertaining package. Mirika blushed because it seemed like Naoya truly understood her. Her father immediately took her home, demanding that she explain the video and the sleepover when they got there. To his surprise, Mirika struck her father, causing him to fall. She confessed to making the video and to her relationship with Naoya, saying that both were her own decisions and that no one should protest against them. Her father was stunned, realizing that Mirika hadn't considered his concerns. If Mirika was going to be this selfish, then he could be too. Her father quickly grabbed her phone, probably willing to let go of the issue with Naoya, but he couldn't accept the fact that his daughter's chest was being broadcast to the world. Her father tried to delete the video and even the Metu channel. Almost before he could do it, Naoya managed to snatch the phone away from him. He understood how difficult it was for a high school student like Mirika to gather 50,000 subscribers. Even making those videos required a lot of effort, and as someone who couldn't do much himself, Naoya deeply respected Mirika. His words were heartfelt, but Saki had a bad feeling about the whole situation. Mirika's father blamed her for exposing herself, but Naoya continued to defend her, as it had been her decision. Naoya also pointed out that her father had sold her tent to make her go home and cause trouble, but deleting her videos was going too far, and he would protect Mirika. Mirika was touched by his words. Saki and Nagisa could see the look of admiration on Mirika's face. Saki commented that Naoya had messed everything up. Mirika then said that she wanted to go home to think things through. She also told them that if her father deleted her video and Metu channel, she would cut ties with him. Mirika left with her father, but before she left, she looked at Naoya and greeted him. Her expression was serious, and Saki had a feeling that this situation was only going to get messier. Saki and Nagisa both tried to forcefully remove Mirika because she had been living in Naoya's house without permission. Just when things were getting tense, Mirika's father suddenly appeared and insisted that she go back home right away. Saki was thrilled to see him and even supported Mirika's father in making her leave, but Naoya, who was Saki's boyfriend and also Nagisa's, stood his ground and defended Mirika with all his might. Saki was really worried because she feared that Naoya's actions might make Mirika fall in love with him. However, it was already too late because Mirika's expression when her father forced her to leave looked like a girl who was in love. That night, Saki and Nagisa talked about Mirika. They couldn't believe that Mirika truly had feelings for Naoya. Saki suspected that Naoya still hadn't realized this, while Nagisa thought that if Mirika confessed her feelings to Naoya, he might end up softening towards her. Saki felt that she and Nagisa needed to do something about it, though she wasn't sure what exactly they could do. That night, Saki went back to her house, which was right next door to Naoya's. She kept thinking about what to do about Naoya. When she arrived, her mother greeted her. Saki told her that she was just home to grab a change of clothes and have a quick drink. Saki's mother asked if her relationship with Naoya had become closer. Saki replied that they were fairly close, though she couldn't exactly tell her mom that they were living together because Naoya was seeing both her and Nagisa at the same time. Saki's mom then asked if she and Naoya had done it yet. Saki was really upset and embarrassed by the question. Her mom pressed on, asking if Saki was interested in that sort of thing. Saki grew more frustrated. Her mom seemed to understand and guessed that maybe Saki and Naoya hadn't done it yet. Saki admitted that they hadn't. Then her mom asked if Saki and Naoya had kissed, and Saki admitted they hadn't kissed either. Saki's mom seemed surprised and asked if Naoya had no sexual desires. Saki told her mom to mind her words. Her mom was puzzled, asking if there was any man who could resist his desires when living with someone as cute as Saki. But Saki didn't feel that way. Her mom complimented Saki's slender body, which she got from playing basketball, her soft hair, and her perfect smile. She said that the reason Naoya had been chasing Saki for so many years was because Saki was so cute. Saki blushed at the compliment from her mom. She realized that there had been many intimate moments between her and Naoya, but at those times, Naoya had seemed too calm. She wondered if she was going to keep being treated that way. Her mom reassured her, saying that with her cuteness, Saki would surely be able to awaken Naoya's sensitive side. Saki felt encouraged and decided to keep fighting. Later that night, Saki went back to Naoya's house. She found him working on his school assignment while Nagisa was already asleep. Naoya was startled when he saw Saki wearing a sexy bunny costume. Naoya asked why she was wearing that outfit. Saki started teasing him, asking if he was getting turned on. To her surprise, Naoya admitted that he was actually feeling confused. Saki almost couldn't believe what she was hearing. She thought the outfit was great, and her mom had assured her that it would work. Naoya was shocked to find out that it was her mom's idea. Saki asked if she didn't look cute in the bunny costume, and Naoya admitted that she did. Saki then asked if Naoya liked bunny girls, and Naoya looked her up and down before saying that he did. Saki smiled and asked if Naoya wanted to pin her down. But of course, Naoya immediately refused. Saki jokingly said that Naoya's sexual desires must have died, and Naoya was confused by her statement. Saki then asked what was going on with him, and Naoya reminded her that they had promised not to do anything inappropriate. According to Saki, even though they had promised about it, wasn't it supposed to be that if there was a bunny girl greeting Naoya, he would immediately do something inappropriate with her? Naoya asked if Saki liked men who broke promises. Saki pushed Naoya and said that she didn't like his serious attitude about keeping promises. She really wanted Naoya to get aroused by her, not to hold back. Saki's costume slipped down and almost revealed her chest, so Naoya supported Saki's chest with both of his hands to prevent her costume from falling off, but Saki slapped Naoya's face. Saki said that she had told Naoya before to hold himself back, even if he was aroused, and she called Naoya a pervert. Naoya was surprised because Saki seemed happy about it. Saki quickly ran inside, saying that there was a pervert who got turned on by the bunny girl. Naoya thought that as long as Saki was happy, it didn't matter to him. The next morning, while they were having breakfast together, Saki looked cheerful and bright. When Nagisa was washing the dishes, Saki offered to help, but Nagisa refused. Saki looked so happy, and Nagisa asked if something good had happened to her. Saki denied it, saying she was just going out for a quick walk. Nagisa became even more curious about what happened to Saki last night that made her look so excited. Nagisa was really surprised when she saw the bunny girl costume in the laundry pile. Seeing that, Nagisa was sure that something must have happened between Saki and Naoya the night before. It turned out that Saki had accidentally put the bunny costume in the laundry. At that moment, Saki was enjoying her morning walk by herself. Nagisa approached Naoya and showed him the bunny costume, asking what happened between him and Saki last night. Naoya said he had promised not to do anything special, but the bunny costume was indeed very silly. Nagisa asked which part Naoya liked, and Naoya said it was the parts that were both cute and seductive. He admitted that he was saying this sincerely. Nagisa then asked if Naoya liked cosplay. Naoya wasn't very experienced, but it seemed like he did enjoy cosplay. After hearing this, Nagisa went back to her room to change. She came out dressed in maid costume. Naoya was surprised and asked why Nagisa had such clothes. Nagisa then asked Naoya what he thought of her appearance. Naoya said that he wanted Nagisa to call him master. Nagisa agreed and said that she loved her master, Naoya. Naoya was so shocked that he fell, saying that Nagisa looked like a very cute maid. While Seki was still happily enjoying her walk with a bright expression, Nagisa was busy serving Naoya. She made tea for him, and Naoya called her cute. Not only that, but Nagisa also massaged Naoya's shoulders while he was studying, and Naoya said that Nagisa's cuteness had flowed inside him. When Nagisa said she would always be by his side, Naoya responded that her cuteness was always there with him. Hearing this, Nagisa smiled and even invited her master Naoya to ask for anything from her. Naoya asked if he could really ask for anything, and Nagisa said that she was Naoya's maid, and she had already made up her mind. Naoya asked for Nagisa to be his maid once a week because if Nagisa's role as his cute maid ended, it would break his heart. Nagisa said it wouldn't be fair if Naoya said something so happy because she still felt like an inexperienced maid, even though she was in the position of having to serve Naoya. Nagisa asked Naoya to pet her head, and Naoya agreed. They both immersed themselves in the role of master and maid. At dinner, Nagisa's face was still cheerful and glowing. She offered to refill Naoya's plate and even accidentally called him master. Nagisa looked so happy while serving Naoya his rice. Saki then realized why Nagisa was calling Naoya master. Nagisa looked terrified, but it seemed like Saki just assumed she had misheard. The next day at school, a few male students were staring at Mirika, who was standing near Naoya's classroom. They were captivated by Mirika's beauty. Her sweet appearance and well-endowed figure made the boys fall for her. Mirika looked like an idol. However, she was still thinking about how Naoya had protected her from her father. Mirika tried to deny that she had feelings for Naoya, the man who was involved with more than one person. But strange feelings resurfaced as she secretly watched Naoya write. Seki was curious why Mirika was standing in front of her classroom. Mirika admitted that she wanted to talk to Naoya. Shino then asked Saki if she knew Rika, to which Saki replied that she was indeed friends with Mirika. Mirika quickly covered Seki's mouth and told her not to call her Mirika at school. Instead, she should call her Rika. Saki then asked if Mirika liked Naoya, but Mirika immediately denied it, though Saki wasn't convinced. Naoya approached them and asked what was going on. Mirika looked embarrassed and greeted Naoya. Seeing her expression, Saki was now certain that Mirika had feelings for Naoya. Mirika asked Naoya to come with her because there was something she wanted to talk about. However, Saki questioned what they were going to discuss, and she made it clear that she would not let Naoya be alone with Mirika. Mirika stated that it was none of Saki's business, but Saki insisted on stopping them. Naoya calmed Saki down and agreed to talk with Mirika. They went to the rooftop. There, Naoya apologized to Mirika for rejecting her when she asked him to be her boyfriend, and he acknowledged that it had embarrassed her. As compensation, Naoya told Mirika she could take a picture of his embarrassing moment, shirtless and in shorts, and even share it on the internet or create fake news about him. He also said that he didn't mind dressing like a girl or even being naked if it made her feel better. Mirika was surprised, wondering why Naoya was being so considerate and even looked cool doing it. Naoya explained that Mirika wasn't wrong. She was sweet, her videos were interesting, and she had a great figure. He mentioned that he already had 2 valuable girlfriends. Mirika didn't expect Naoya's determination to be so strong. He said that if Mirika wanted a boyfriend, he would help her find someone good, and he wanted to make up for his mistake. That's why he begged her to give up on trying to win his heart. Naoya made it clear that he couldn't like Mirika and couldn't have any more girlfriends. Those words made Mirika's heart race, and she fell down. Mirika got up and thanked Naoya for helping her when her father threatened to delete her MedTube account. Naoya was puzzled, asking if that was all Mirika wanted to say, as he didn't think it was a big deal. However, Mirika explained that it meant a lot to her. Her father had always been harsh with her, scolding her for bad grades and being strict in her upbringing. She felt like her future choices were narrowing, so she thought that if she did something she didn't like, it meant it was wrong. However, because Mirika felt powerless, she wanted to do what she could, and making videos was her way to live independently. Naoya then realized that Mirika's goal with the videos wasn't just to show off her figure. Mirika admitted that she did use her body to create content, but she also knew that many people didn't like it. Despite that, she had planned many things to make her channel interesting, and she fought hard because she cared about it. Unlike Naoya, Nagisa saw that Naoya protected Mirika even though there was no benefit for him, and that made Mirika very happy. Naoya understood and felt glad he could protect Mirika at that time. Mirika was shocked, and she quickly ran off, telling Naoya to stop saying such things. She left the rooftop before Naoya could finish what he wanted to say. As Mirika hurried down the stairs, she finally found the courage to admit that she liked Naoya. Unbeknownst to her, Saki overheard what Mirika said and became angry with her. Meanwhile, Nagisa was still wondering if Naoya was okay. To protect Naoya from Mirika's aggressive advances, Saki and Nagisa decided to dress up in cosplay. However, instead of discouraging Mirika, it only made her feelings for Naoya grow even stronger. Both Saki and Nagisa hoped that Naoya wouldn't add another girlfriend. The next morning, Mirika returned to Naoya's classroom to see him. At that moment, he was with Saki and Shino. Without hesitation, Mirika walked right up to them and greeted Naoya directly. Saki asked why she was there, but Mirika simply replied that she didn't need a special reason to visit the class. Other students, including Nagisa, overheard the commotion. Mirika asked Saki not to call her Mirika at school, saying she should be referred to as Rika during class hours. One of the students then asked what kind of relationship Naoya had with Mirika. Naoya didn't answer right away and paused to think, which prompted Mirika to grab his hand and declare that their relationship was more than just friends. Staying Mirika's chest pressed intentionally against Naoya, Saki immediately pushed her away forcefully, causing Mirika pain. Saki told her to stop throwing herself at Naoya like that. She even warned Mirika not to come near him and harshly called her names. Mirika insisted that it had nothing to do with Saki, but Saki claimed to know exactly what Mirika was trying to do to break Naoya's resolve. Saki made it clear there was no longer any room for Mirika to come between her and Naoya. Mirika then questioned how Saki could say that when she was already sharing Naoya with Nagisa. Saki was caught off guard by that comment. She pulled Naoya close and reminded him to stay by her side no matter what. Mirika, undeterred, said she would keep looking for an opening even if Saki tried to shut her out. Saki again warned Naoya not to leave her side, not even for a second. That's when Naoya realized that Saki felt lonely and was afraid that he might end up adding another girlfriend. He hugged her tightly, telling her that he understood how she felt. Saki hadn't meant to go that far, but seeing Mirika's shocked expression, she rested her head against Naoya's chest. Mirika, overwhelmed with embarrassment and frustration, quickly left the classroom. As the bell rang to start class, their teacher walked in, surprised to see Naoya still holding Saki in his arms. Naoya explained that Saki was feeling lonely and asked the teacher not to worry about them. The teacher then told the students to open their textbooks while Saki remained seated on Naoya's lap. Saki asked whether they were really going to stay like that for the entire class. Naoya told her not to hold back and that something that small wouldn't make her loneliness go away. Saki admitted that they hadn't spent much time alone lately. She was worried and felt left out because of Mirika's presence, but that didn't mean they should stay that close during class in front of everyone. It made her feel embarrassed. As Naoya reached down to grab his eraser that had fallen, one of his hands accidentally touched Saki's chest, causing her to let out a surprised sound. Their classmates were startled by the noise. Naoya, completely unaware of the situation, apologized for touching her chest. Saki, red-faced with embarrassment, screamed. They remained close like that until the bell rang, signaling the start of gym class. Naoya asked if they needed to change clothes together, but Saki immediately said that wasn't necessary. Shortly after, Mirika returned again to see Naoya. Saki ignored her and quickly dragged Naoya outside. Mirika asked what Saki was planning, but Saki shut the classroom door and ran off with Naoya. Mirika chased after them. When they reached an empty room, Saki locked the door, refusing to let Mirika talk to Naoya. Naoya asked what she was planning to do in there. Saki replied that she wanted to change clothes in that room. Outside the door, Mirika kept begging them to open it. Saki asked Naoya to close his eyes while she changed. She said she hated doing this, but she couldn't stop worrying that Naoya might fall for Mirika, who seemed genuinely determined to win him over. She was convinced that Mirika might actually succeed in stealing him away. Naoya thought he should wait outside, but Saki stopped him and asked him not to leave her. Then Naoya pointed out that Saki's underwear was visible. Shocked, Saki quickly covered herself. Naoya ended up staying in the room, turning his back as Saki changed clothes, since they had taken a bath together before, showing her underwear shouldn't have been a big deal. Not long after, Nagisa sent Saki a message saying she had threatened Mirika by sending her a message from a fake account on Twitter. The message said that Mirika's real identity would be exposed if she didn't show up on the school rooftop. That way, Saki could feel safe around her. Saki immediately opened the door to the room, and sure enough, Mirika was gone. She felt incredibly relieved and thanked Nagisa for what she did. Meanwhile, Mirika arrived at the school rooftop but found no one there. She was confused, trying to figure out who could have sent that message. Back in the room, Saki had changed into her gym uniform, and Naoya told her she looked even cuter than usual. Later that day, when they got home, Saki had a conversation with Nagisa. Saki said it had been a tiring day. Thinking back on it, she pointed out how odd it was to see someone hugging their boyfriend so openly in school. According to her, Naoya hadn't let go of her the entire class period. Nagisa, instead of judging, was actually impressed at how passionate the hug was. Hearing that, Saki called Nagisa cute and innocent. Then Naoya walked in and asked what they were talking about. Out of the blue, Saki said they had been talking about how Nagisa really wanted to be hugged by him. Naoya offered to hug her, but Nagisa turned him down, saying it didn't feel right since Saki didn't want him hugging other girls. But Saki suddenly imagined Naoya hugging Nagisa and said it was fine. Her heart wasn't that narrow. She pointed out that since Nagisa had decided to stick with this relationship, she didn't need to keep holding herself back like that. According to Saki, going up against someone who always restrains herself just wouldn't feel satisfying. Nagisa was deeply touched by that. Saki stood up to leave, but Naoya stopped her and asked her to watch while he hugged Nagisa. He felt it would be wrong to do it without Saki seeing because it might make her anxious.